You probably think the internet works through satellites floating above Earth, but that's not how the world stays connected. Because almost everything you do online, every message, every video, every Google search, every bank transaction, every social media post, travels through massive underground cables hidden beneath the ocean floor. And if those cables stopped working, modern civilization would begin breaking down within hours. On the surface, it looks wireless, but it's not. Right now, beneath the oceans of the planet, there's a giant hidden network stretching across continents. Thousands of miles of fiber optic cables silently connect countries, governments, banks, militaries, tech companies, and billions of people together every second. And most people have absolutely no idea this system even exists. But here's what they don't tell you. The modern world depends on these cables far more than almost anyone realizes. Your internet, global banking, cloud computing, stock markets, streaming platforms, military communications, international business. Almost all of it relies on cables sitting at the bottom of the sea. And this is where it gets serious, because the entire digital world feels invisible. You open your phone, watch videos, send messages, transfer money. It all feels instant, wireless, effortless. But underneath, physical infrastructure is doing all the work. Let's simplify the internet in the easiest way possible. Imagine the world as one giant computer. Every country needs to exchange information constantly. Data has to travel somehow, and despite what many people believe, satellites handle only a tiny portion of global internet traffic. Why? Because satellites are slower and less efficient for massive data transfers. Fiber optic cables are dramatically faster, so instead of relying on space, the world built enormous cables under the oceans. These cables stretch across the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, connecting continents together like giant digital highways. And every second, trillions of pieces of information travel through them at nearly the speed of light. Think about that. Your text messages might travel underwater across entire oceans before reaching another phone. Your online payment may cross continents in milliseconds. Your favorite Netflix show probably reached your screen through an underwater cable system you never even think about. And this is where things start getting dangerous, because the world became completely dependent on this infrastructure. If major cables are damaged, entire regions can lose connectivity. Banks can slow down, businesses can fail, communication systems can collapse, financial markets can panic. And yes, this has already happened before, but it gets worse, because these cables are surprisingly vulnerable. Most people imagine giant armored systems impossible to damage, but many underwater cables are only about as thick as a garden hose. That's it. Tiny cables carrying the modern world. And sometimes, they break accidentally. Ship anchors drag across the ocean floor. Fishing equipment damages infrastructure. Earthquakes cut connections. Underwater landslides destroy cable routes. Even sharks have reportedly damaged cables in certain cases. Now imagine that happening to systems carrying global internet traffic. Suddenly, entire countries can experience slower internet, communication outages, and major disruptions. And this is where it affects you directly, because modern life depends on constant connectivity. Think about how much of your life requires the internet now. Banking, work, navigation, streaming, cloud storage, online shopping, social media, business operations, education, everything connects. And once internet infrastructure fails, many systems begin struggling immediately. But here's the hidden layer nobody talks about. These cables aren't just technological infrastructure anymore, they're geopolitical infrastructure, meaning countries now see them as strategic assets. Why? Because whoever controls communication infrastructure controls enormous power. Information, finance, military coordination, economic influence, national security. That changes everything. Now governments and corporations compete heavily over cable routes, landing stations, and digital infrastructure projects. And this is where it gets serious, because only a small number of giant companies now influence massive portions of the world's internet infrastructure. Companies like Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon increasingly invest directly in submarine cable systems. Think about that for a second. The same companies controlling huge parts of your digital life also help control the physical infrastructure carrying global internet traffic. On the surface, it looks normal, but it's not. The internet was originally imagined as decentralized, open, distributed. But over time, power began concentrating. And now a relatively small number of corporations influence enormous parts of global digital communication. Now here's something even more alarming. Many critical cables pass through geographic choke points, narrow regions where huge amounts of global data flow through concentrated routes. That means certain areas became extremely important strategically and vulnerable. If disruptions happen there, massive parts of the internet can slow down simultaneously. That's why countries increasingly worry about sabotage, cyber warfare, and infrastructure attacks. Because in the modern world, cutting communication systems can be as powerful as attacking physical infrastructure. And most people never think about this because the internet feels abstract. But underneath, it's physical, very physical. Massive ships called cable-laying vessels spend years placing these lines across ocean floors. Specialized engineers map routes carefully to avoid dangerous underwater terrain. Repair crews operate in harsh conditions thousands of feet below the surface. Entire industries exist just to maintain global connectivity, and almost nobody sees any of it. That's the crazy part. One of the most important systems in human civilization is almost completely invisible to ordinary people. And this is where the story changes again. The more advanced technology becomes, the more dependent we become on these cables. Artificial intelligence, cloud computing, financial systems, remote work, streaming, global commerce. All require enormous amounts of data moving constantly. That means the future economy depends even more heavily on underwater communication infrastructure, not less. And demand keeps exploding. Every video uploaded, every AI request, every online meeting, every cloud backup, every cryptocurrency transaction, every app refresh, all increase global data traffic, which means these underwater cables are becoming some of the most valuable infrastructure on Earth. But it gets worse, because the world is becoming more unstable at the exact same time. Geopolitical tension is rising, cyber warfare is increasing, competition between major powers is intensifying, and communication infrastructure became part of that competition. Countries now worry about surveillance, espionage, sabotage, digital dependence, infrastructure control. Because if communication systems fail during a crisis, entire economies could suffer. And this is where it affects your future. Most people think digital life exists in the cloud. But the cloud is really physical infrastructure, data centers, servers, energy systems, fiber optic networks, underwater cables. The internet feels weightless, but it depends on enormous industrial systems hidden around the planet. And once you understand that, you realize how fragile modern civilization actually is. One damaged cable may not seem important, but multiple disruptions across critical routes, that becomes dangerous fast. Now imagine a future where AI systems dominate industries, remote work expands globally, digital banking becomes universal, smart cities depend entirely on connectivity, entire economies run online. Suddenly these cables become even more important than highways, railroads, or shipping lanes, because data itself became the foundation of modern civilization, and whoever controls data infrastructure gains massive influence over the future. That's why countries race to build new cable systems constantly. That's why tech giants invest billions into internet infrastructure. That's why underwater communication routes quietly became strategic battlegrounds. And most people never notice any of it happening beneath the ocean. Now here's the big realization. The internet is not floating magically through the air. It's running through one of the largest hidden infrastructure systems ever built by humanity. A giant physical network stretching beneath oceans across the entire planet. Everything you do online depends on it. Your money, your messages, your entertainment, your work, your memories stored in the cloud. Everything connects. And the scary part? Modern civilization became so dependent on digital connectivity that many people wouldn't know how vulnerable the system truly is until something major breaks. Because on the surface, the internet feels permanent, stable, untouchable. But underneath, a fragile web of cables quietly holds the modern world together every second. So the next time you send a message, stream a video, or refresh your phone, remember this: your data may have just traveled thousands of miles through hidden cables lying silently at the bottom of the ocean. Invisible infrastructure carrying the digital world. And as technology becomes more advanced, these underground cable systems will only become more important, more powerful, and more vulnerable. Because the future of civilization itself increasingly depends on a hidden network most people will never even see.